Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into the Bhagavad Gita. Specifically, these excerpts you've shared with us. I'm really interested to see what insights we can uncover about spirituality, duty, and the paths to enlightenment.
It's interesting that you chose these particular excerpts. The Bhagavad Gita is unique in that it's not just a dry philosophical text. It's a dialogue set on a battlefield, no less, between a warrior prince facing a moral crisis and his divine charioteer.
A battlefield. Okay, it's not what I was expecting. Sounds pretty intense.
It is. We have Arjuna, this warrior prince, overwhelmed by the prospect of war against his own family, and Krishna, his charioteer, who is actually an incarnation of God offering guidance.
So it's like a therapy session with a divine twist in the middle of a war zone.
You could say that. It's within this incredibly dramatic setting that the Gita explores profound questions about the nature of the self, the temporary nature of the physical body, and the idea of reincarnation.
That's quite a lot to unpack. I'm curious, what exactly is Arjuna's dilemma? Can you set the scene for us a bit?
Imagine this. The Kurukshetra war is about to begin. Armies are assembled, tensions are high, and Arjuna finds himself facing his own relatives on the opposing side. He's torn between his duty as a warrior and his love for his family. He's basically having a full-blown existential crisis in the middle of a battlefield.
Wow, that's heavy stuff. I can see why this would be a relatable dilemma even for those of us who aren't warrior princes. We all face tough choices where what we're supposed to do might clash with our personal feelings.
Exactly. The Gita speaks to that universal experience, and it emphasizes the concept of dharma, which is often translated as righteousness or duty. It's about understanding what's right, both in a personal and cosmic sense.
So how does the Gita help Arjuna and us navigate this conflict between duty and personal feelings?
One of the core teachings of the Gita is a distinction between the eternal self, known as Atman, and the temporary physical body. It introduces the concept of reincarnation, where the soul moves from one body to another after death, like changing clothes.
So it's saying that our true essence, the soul, isn't bound by the physical body.
Precisely. And this understanding helps us make choices that aren't solely based on our temporary desires and attachments. We can act from a place of higher awareness in alignment with our dharma.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like gaining a wider perspective on our lives and choices.
Yeah.
It's not just about what I want in this moment, but what's in alignment with my true nature and purpose.
Yes, and this idea connects directly to the different paths to liberation the Gita outlines. It's not just about understanding the self, but also about how we act in the world.
Okay, so we understand the self is eternal, but what about these paths to liberation? You mentioned there were a few.
The Gita talks about three main paths: Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Each path offers a different approach to achieve liberation, to break free from the cycle of reincarnation and achieve union with the divine.
Could you break down each path for us a little? I'm especially curious about how they differ and what they might look like in practice.
Of course, Jnana Yoga is the path of knowledge and self-realization. It emphasizes introspection, contemplation, and understanding the true nature of the self. It's about going inward and seeking wisdom through direct experience.
That sounds pretty intense. So it's less about external actions and more about cultivating wisdom and understanding.
Exactly. Now, Karma Yoga, on the other hand, is the path of selfless action. It's about performing your duty without attachment to the results, dedicating your actions to a higher purpose.
So it's about doing the right thing regardless of personal gain or recognition.
Yes. And it's not just about big, heroic actions. It's about bringing that mindset to every aspect of your life, even seemingly mundane tasks. It's about acting with intention and purpose.
That's a powerful concept. And what about the third path, Bhakti Yoga?
Bhakti Yoga is the path to devotion and love. It involves cultivating love and surrender to the divine. In the Bhagavad Gita, that divine is often personified as Krishna, but it can be any concept of the divine that resonates with you.
So it's about cultivating a personal relationship with the divine through love and devotion.
Precisely. And it involves practices like prayer, chanting, rituals, and simply living your life with a sense of love and gratitude towards the divine.
That's beautiful. It sounds like a very heart-centered path.
It is. And what's fascinating is that the Gita doesn't present these paths as being mutually exclusive. They can be practiced individually or woven together depending on your inclination and your journey.
So it's like a choose your own adventure to liberation. That's actually quite empowering.
Absolutely. It recognizes that there are many different ways to connect with the divine and to achieve liberation. The key is to find the path that resonates with you and to practice it with sincerity and devotion.
So far, we've covered Arjuna's dilemma, the nature of the self, and these three distinct paths to liberation. It seems like the Gita has a lot to say about how we view ourselves and the world around us.
It does. And to understand those teachings more fully, it's important to explore some of the key concepts introduced in the Gita. For example, the concept of Maya.
Maya, okay. I've heard that term before, but I'm not quite sure what it means in the context of the Gita.
Maya is often translated as illusion. It refers to the veil of material reality that obscures the true nature of the self and the divine. It's like a magician's trick, making us believe the world is solely material and that our senses are the ultimate source of knowledge.
So it's like we're caught in a web of illusion, believing that the physical world is all there is.
Exactly. And this illusion can lead to attachment suffering and a sense of separation from our true nature and from the divine.
So the Gita is saying we need to see through this illusion to achieve liberation.
Precisely. And that's where the other teachings come into play, like understanding the self, following a path to liberation, and cultivating certain qualities within ourselves.
Okay, so understanding Maya helps us break free from the illusion of the material world. Are there other key concepts in the Gita that can help with that?
Absolutely. The Gita also talks about the gunas, the three qualities of nature that influence our thoughts, emotions, and actions.
The gunas. I'm not familiar with that term. Can you tell us a bit more about them?
The three gunas are sattva, rajas, and tamas, representing goodness, passion, and ignorance. They are like forces that shape our experiences and influence our behavior. For example, sattva is associated with clarity, peace, and wisdom, while rajas is associated with activity, desire, and restlessness. Tamas, on the other hand, is associated with inertia, delusion, and ignorance.
So these gunas are constantly at play within us, shaping our perceptions and actions.
Exactly. And the Gita suggests that understanding these gunas can help us make more conscious choices and move towards a state of greater balance and harmony.
I'm starting to see how all these concepts are interconnected like pieces of a puzzle that fit together to create a greater understanding of ourselves and the world.
You're absolutely right. And there's one more crucial concept we need to discuss, and that's yoga.
Yoga. I thought that was about physical poses and stretching.
That's one aspect of yoga, but in the context of the Bhagavad Gita, yoga has a much broader meaning. It refers to the union of the individual self with the supreme self, the divine. It's the ultimate goal of all the paths we discussed earlier.
So it's about connecting with something bigger than ourselves, achieving a state of oneness.
Yes. And the Gita emphasizes that this union can be achieved through different means, through knowledge, action, or devotion. It's not about the specific practice, but about the inner transformation that leads to that state of union.
This is also fascinating. It's like we're peeling back the layers of the Gita and uncovering a whole new understanding of life and our place in it.
And there's still so much more to explore. Remember, this is just the beginning of our deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita. There are so many more insights and teachings waiting to be uncovered.
That's true. So far, we've learned about Arjuna's dilemma, the distinction between the self and the body, the three paths to liberation and concepts like Maya gunas and yoga. It's a lot to take in, but it's also incredibly thought-provoking.
It is. And I think the most remarkable thing about the Gita is its ability to address fundamental human questions in a way that transcends time and culture. It offers wisdom that is as relevant today as it was centuries ago.
Absolutely. I'm already starting to see how these teachings can be applied to my own life to help me navigate challenges and make choices that are aligned with my true self and purpose. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I'm curious to hear more about this dramatic moment when Krishna reveals his cosmic form to Arjuna.
Ah, yes. That's one of the most well-known and awe-inspiring passages in the Bhagavad Gita. It's a pivotal moment that shifts Arjuna's entire perspective.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more. What happens in this vision and why is it so significant?
Imagine Arjuna still struggling with his doubts and fears. Then Krishna, his divine charioteer, reveals his true form, a cosmic vision of unimaginable grandeur and power. It's a breathtaking display of the interconnectedness of all things, the vastness of the universe, and the ultimate reality of the divine.
Wow, that sounds incredible. What does Arjuna do? I can't imagine witnessing something like that.
Arjuna is overwhelmed with awe and wonder. He sees the entire universe contained within Krishna, the cycle of birth and death, the interplay of cosmic forces, and the ultimate truth of existence. It's a profound experience that shatters his limited perception of reality and his own sense of self.
So this vision of the universal form is like a glimpse behind the curtain of Maya, the illusion we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. It's a direct experience of the divine beyond the limitations of human perception and understanding. It's a revelation that changes everything for Arjuna.
That's incredible. I'm starting to see why this vision is considered so significant. But what does it mean for us, for those of us who haven't had a direct encounter with the divine like that?
The vision of the universal form is a reminder that the divine is not limited to any particular form or concept. It can be experienced in countless ways, both personal and impersonal. It's a call to expand our awareness, to look beyond the surface of things, and to recognize the divine presence in everything around us.
That's a beautiful message. It makes me think about all the times I've limited my understanding of the divine to specific ideas or beliefs. This vision seems to encourage a more expansive and inclusive perspective.
Absolutely. And it also highlights the importance of cultivating certain qualities within ourselves to be able to perceive the divine more clearly.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What qualities does the Gita emphasize as being essential for spiritual growth and connection with the divine?
Chapter 12 of the Gita focuses specifically on cultivating divine qualities. It highlights virtues like compassion, forgiveness, non-attachment, equanimity, and self-control as being essential for spiritual progress and liberation.
These all sound like wonderful qualities to cultivate not just for spiritual reasons, but also for everyday life.
Exactly. Imagine a world where people practice these virtues in their interactions with others, in their decision-making, and in their approach to life's challenges. It would be a very different world, wouldn't it?
It would indeed. It makes me wonder, how can we, in our everyday lives, start to cultivate these qualities?
Yeah.
They seem quite challenging, especially in a world that often rewards the opposite.
That's a great question, and one that we'll explore further as we continue our deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita. But for now, I think it's important to simply reflect on these qualities and see which ones resonate most deeply with you.
That's a good point. It's about starting with self-awareness and a genuine desire to cultivate these qualities within ourselves. And I'm sure the Gita offers guidance on how to do that.
It does. And as we delve deeper into its teachings, we'll discover practical tools and techniques for integrating these virtues into our daily lives and moving closer to that state of union with the divine. It's amazing how the Gita can spark that kind of inspiration, isn't it? It's a text that has resonated with people for centuries across different cultures and backgrounds.
It really is.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, some of the concepts are pretty complex and challenging. Like, how do we actually apply these teachings in the real world? It's easy to talk about compassion and non-attachment, but it's a whole other thing to actually live it, especially when life throws you curveballs.
You're absolutely right. It's not about achieving some perfect state of enlightenment overnight. It's about a gradual process of self-transformation, of aligning our thoughts, actions, and intentions with the wisdom of the Gita.
So it's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. And the Gita offers us a roadmap for that journey with practical guidance on how to navigate the inevitable challenges and setbacks we'll encounter along the way.
Okay, I'm liking this roadmap analogy. It makes the whole thing feel a bit less daunting. So if we think of the Gita as a roadmap, what are some of the key landmarks we should be looking out for in this journey?
One of the most important landmarks is understanding the role of free will in the context of the Gita's teachings.
Free will. I'm curious about that. The Gita talks about dharma and destiny, so I'm wondering how free will fits into all of that.
It's a great question, and one that the Gita explores in depth. The Gita acknowledges that we do have free will, the ability to make choices, but it also recognizes that we are influenced by the gunas, those qualities of nature we talked about earlier, and by our past karma, the actions we've taken in previous lives.
So it's like we have this capacity for choice, but it's operating within a framework of pre-existing conditions and influences.
Precisely. It's a delicate balance between our inherent tendencies and our ability to make conscious choices. The Gita suggests that while we may be influenced by these factors, we still have the power to choose our actions and shape our destiny.
That's actually quite empowering. So it's not about being a victim of our past or our circumstances, but about recognizing our agency and making choices that are aligned with our highest good.
Yes, and that's where spiritual practice comes in. The Gita emphasizes that through practices like meditation, self-reflection, and cultivating awareness of the gunas, we can start to transcend those limitations and make choices that are more aligned with our true nature and purpose.
So it's about refining our inner landscape to create a more conscious and aligned way of being in the world.
Exactly. And that refinement is an ongoing process, a journey of self-discovery and growth. The Gita reminds us that it's never too late to start over or to make a change, that the path to liberation is always available to us no matter our past actions or current circumstances.
That's a really hopeful message. It takes the pressure off having to get everything right all the time.
Yeah.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Absolutely. And that progress is supported by the idea that every action, no matter how small, can contribute to our spiritual growth.
I love that. It's encouraging to think that even the seemingly insignificant things we do can have a ripple effect on our journey. It gives a sense of purpose and meaning to everything.
Precisely. And this sense of purpose is further amplified by the Gita's emphasis on selfless action on karma yoga.
Right, karma yoga. We talked about it briefly earlier, but I'm curious to delve a little deeper into this idea of selfless action. What does it really mean to act without attachment to the results? It seems like a difficult concept to grasp in a world that's so focused on outcomes and achievements.
It is a challenging concept, but also incredibly liberating once you start to understand it. The Gita's approach to karma yoga isn't about becoming passive or withdrawing from the world. It's about engaging in the world, fulfilling your duties and responsibilities, but doing so with a detached mindset. It's about recognizing that we are instruments of the divine, and that our actions are ultimately part of a larger cosmic play.
So it's about surrendering the ego's need to control everything to micromanage the outcomes, and instead trusting in a higher power, a divine plan.
Exactly. And this surrender, this non-attachment to the fruits of our actions, ultimately leads to greater inner peace and freedom from suffering.
That makes sense. When we're so attached to the outcomes, we set ourselves up for disappointment, frustration, and a whole lot of unnecessary stress.
Precisely. And it's not about denying our desires or ambitions. It's about shifting our perspective, recognizing that true fulfillment comes from the act of service itself, from aligning our actions with our dharma, not from the external rewards or recognition that may or may not come.
This is really resonating with me. It's about finding joy and purpose in the process, not just in the destination.
Yes, and it's about recognizing that every action we take, whether it's seemingly small or grand, can be an act of service, a contribution to the greater good.
I'm curious, though, the Gita talks about both action and inaction. It seems like a bit of a paradox. Can you clarify what it means by inaction in this context?
It's a great question and one that often causes confusion. Inaction in the Gita doesn't mean being passive or lazy. It refers to a state of inner stillness, of non-reactivity, of being present in the moment without being driven by compulsive thoughts or desires.
So it's about cultivating a sense of inner peace and equanimity, even amidst the chaos of life.
Exactly. And this state of inner stillness is not something we achieve by forcing it. It's a byproduct of aligning ourselves with the divine will, of surrendering our ego's need for control, and of acting from a place of wisdom and compassion.
I'm starting to see how all these concepts are interconnected, how they support and reinforce each other. It's like a tapestry woven with threads of wisdom, practice, and devotion.
That's a beautiful way to put it. The Gita isn't just a collection of random teachings. It's a holistic system that offers a profound understanding of life, the universe, and our place within it.
So we've talked about free will, karma yoga, and the importance of cultivating inner stillness. What other insights does the Gita offer for navigating this journey of self-transformation?
Well, one crucial aspect that we haven't explored yet is the role of the guru, the spiritual teacher.
The guru. That's interesting. We haven't talked much about that so far.
The guru plays a significant role in the Gita's teachings. In fact, Krishna himself serves as a guru to Arjuna, guiding him through his doubts, fears, and dilemmas.
So the guru acts as a mentor, a guide on the spiritual path.
Exactly. The Gita emphasizes the importance of seeking guidance from a wise teacher, someone who has already walked the path and can offer insights and support.
But how do we find a guru, and what qualities should we be looking for?
The Gita suggests that a true guru is someone who has realized the self, who embodies the qualities we've been discussing, and who can transmit that wisdom and understanding to others.
So it's not just about finding someone who's well-versed in the scriptures or who has a lot of followers. It's about finding someone who embodies the teachings and can guide us from a place of authentic realization.
Precisely. And the Gita highlights the importance of approaching the guru with humility, respect, and a sincere desire to learn. It's a relationship built on trust and surrender, on a willingness to be guided and transformed.
That makes sense. It's like a student-teacher relationship, but on a spiritual level.
Yes, and it's a relationship that can accelerate our progress on the path to liberation. A good guru can illuminate our blind spots, help us overcome obstacles, and inspire us to reach our highest potential.
It's interesting that the Gita places so much emphasis on the importance of a teacher. It seems to recognize that we don't have to do this journey alone.
Exactly. We can benefit greatly from the wisdom and guidance of those who have gone before us. It's like having a map and a compass when you're venturing into uncharted territory.
That's a great analogy. And speaking of maps, I'm wondering if we can go back to this idea of the Gita as a roadmap for life. What other landmarks should we be aware of as we continue our exploration?
Well, one important landmark is understanding the concept of dharma, which we've touched upon a few times already.
Right, dharma. We've talked about it in the context of duty and righteousness, but I'm curious to explore it a bit further. What does dharma mean in a practical sense? How do we know what our dharma is?
It's a great question. Dharma is a complex concept with multiple layers of meaning. At its core, it refers to our inherent nature, our true purpose in life. It's the unique set of qualities and talents we bring to the world and how we use those gifts to contribute to the greater good. So it's not just about following a set of rules or fulfilling societal expectations. It's about discovering our own unique path and living in alignment with our true nature.
Exactly. And the Gita suggests that we can discover our dharma through self-reflection, introspection,
Yeah.
and by paying attention to our natural inclinations and talents.
It's like listening to that inner voice, that intuition that guides us towards what feels right and true.
Precisely. And it's also about being open to guidance from wise teachers and mentors who can help us discern our true path.
So finding our dharma is a process of both inner exploration and seeking external guidance.
Yes, and it's a process that unfolds over time. Our dharma may evolve as we grow and change as we gain new experiences and perspectives.
That makes sense. Life is constantly throwing us curveballs, and our understanding of ourselves and our purpose in the world is bound to evolve as well.
Absolutely. And the beauty of the Gita is that it acknowledges this dynamic nature of life and offers a framework for navigating those changes and challenges with grace and wisdom. So we've talked about the role of the guru, the importance of understanding our dharma, and the process of aligning our actions with our true nature. I'm starting to get a sense of the depth and breadth of the Gita's teachings.
And we've only just begun to explore its richness. The Bhagavad Gita is a text that can be studied and contemplated for a lifetime, revealing new layers of meaning with each reading.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Indeed. And it's a testament to the enduring power of spiritual wisdom.
I have to say, this whole conversation has really shifted my perspective on the Gita. I used to think of it as this ancient, esoteric text that was difficult to relate to. But now I'm seeing it as a practical guide for navigating life's challenges and living with greater purpose and meaning.
That's wonderful to hear. The Gita is meant to be lived, not just read or studied. It's a call to action, an invitation to embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation.
And it's a journey that we can undertake with a sense of hope and confidence, knowing that we have the tools and guidance we need to navigate the path ahead.
Absolutely. The Gita reminds us that we are not alone on this journey. We have the support of the divine, with the wisdom of the teachings, and the guidance of those who have walked the path before us.
Speaking of guidance, we've talked a lot about the more philosophical aspects of the Gita, but I'm curious to explore its more devotional side as well.
Ah, yes. The path of bhakti yoga, the path of love and devotion, that's a beautiful and essential aspect of the Gita's teachings.
We touched upon it earlier, but I'd love to hear more about what bhakti yoga looks like in practice. How can we cultivate love and surrender to the divine?
Bhakti yoga involves opening our hearts to the divine, cultivating a sense of love, trust, and surrender. It's about recognizing the divine presence within ourselves and in everything around us.
So it's not just about chanting mantras or performing rituals, though those can be helpful practices. It's about a way of being, a way of seeing the world with a heart filled with love and devotion.
Exactly. And that love and devotion can manifest in countless ways. It can be expressed through prayer chanting, singing devotional songs, serving others, or simply by living our lives with a sense of gratitude and reverence for the divine.
It sounds like a very personal and individual path, one that can be tailored to our own unique inclinations and expressions.
It is. The Gita doesn't prescribe a one-size-fits-all approach to bhakti yoga. It encourages us to find the practices and expressions that resonate most deeply with our hearts.
I'm struck by the idea that even amidst a battlefield, the Gita speaks of love and compassion. It seems like a paradoxical message.
It is a paradox, and yet it speaks to the profound wisdom of the Gita. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, even when faced with conflict and adversity, love and compassion can prevail.
It's a message of hope and resilience that resonates deeply, especially in today's world.
Indeed, it encourages us to cultivate these qualities within ourselves and to extend them to others, even in the face of challenges and differences.
This conversation has been so enriching. I'm starting to see the Gita not just as a religious text, but as a guide for living a more fulfilling and meaningful life, regardless of one's beliefs or background.
That's the beauty of the Gita. It speaks to the human heart and offers timeless wisdom that transcends any particular religion or philosophy.
I'm feeling really inspired to explore these teachings further and to see how I can integrate them into my own life.
That's wonderful. And I encourage you to continue this journey of discovery. The Gita is a gift that keeps on giving, revealing new layers of meaning and wisdom as we delve deeper into its teachings.
I feel like we've covered so much ground already, but I'm eager to keep diving deeper into the Gita's wisdom. In the last part, you mentioned that the Gita is a holistic system. Can you elaborate on what you meant by that?
The Gita doesn't just offer fragmented teachings, it presents a comprehensive view of life, integrating spiritual principles into every aspect of our being. It's not about compartmentalizing spirituality, it's about weaving it into the fabric of our daily existence.
So it's not about renouncing the world or living a life of asceticism, but about transforming our relationship with the world.
Exactly. The Gita encourages us to engage with the world, but to do so with a different perspective, a different set of intentions. It's about acting from a place of service of Dharma rather than from ego-driven desires.
That brings us back to karma yoga, the path of selfless action. We've talked about it conceptually, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around what it looks like in practice.
Karma yoga at its heart is about performing our duties, our actions with dedication and without attachment to the outcomes. It's about recognizing that our actions have consequences, but that we're not ultimately in control of those consequences.
So it's about doing what needs to be done, putting in our best effort, but letting go of the need to control the result.
Precisely. It's about trusting in a higher power, a divine plan, and recognizing that we are part of something much larger than ourselves.
I'm starting to see how this connects with the idea of surrender that we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
It's about letting go of the ego's need to micromanage everything and allowing things to unfold as they should.
Yes. And it's not about becoming passive or indifferent. It's about acting with intention, with purpose, but without getting caught up in the need for specific outcomes. It's about aligning our actions with our dharma, with our understanding of what is right and good.
This is starting to make more sense to me now. It's about shifting our focus from what's in it for me to how can I serve?
Exactly. And that shifting perspective can be incredibly transformative. It can bring a sense of purpose and meaning to our lives, even in the midst of challenges and setbacks.
I'm curious, how do the gunas, those qualities of nature we talked about earlier, play into this idea of karma yoga?
The gunas are always at play within us, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Remember, the three gunas are sattva, goodness, rajas, passion, and tamas, ignorance. The Gita suggests that we can become more conscious of these gunas and make choices that cultivate sattva, the quality of goodness.
So in the context of karma yoga, it's about acting from a place of clarity, wisdom, and compassion rather than being driven by passion or ignorance.
Exactly. It's about refining our inner landscape to create a more harmonious and balanced state of being, which then allows us to act in the world from a more aligned and selfless place.
It sounds like a process of continuous self-awareness and refinement.
It is. And the Gita offers practical guidance on how to cultivate those qualities of goodness. It emphasizes practices like meditation, self-reflection, and cultivating a mindful awareness of our thoughts, emotions, and actions.
So it's not just about changing our outward actions, but about transforming our inner world as well.
Absolutely. The inner transformation is essential. It's the foundation upon which we can build a more meaningful and fulfilling life, both for ourselves and for others.
This is all so rich and insightful. It's incredible how the Gita seamlessly weaves together philosophy, psychology, and spirituality to offer a truly holistic approach to life.
It truly is a remarkable text, and its message of hope, resilience, and the power of self-transformation is as relevant today as it was centuries ago.
I'm feeling so grateful for this deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita. It's really opened my eyes to a new way of seeing the world and my place in it.
It's been my pleasure to share these teachings with you, and I encourage you to continue your exploration of the Gita. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
I definitely will. This conversation has sparked a real thirst for knowledge and a desire to deepen my understanding of these profound teachings. And for anyone listening, I highly recommend picking up a copy of the Bhagavad Gita and embarking on your own journey of discovery. You might be surprised by what you find.
I agree. The Gita is a treasure trove of wisdom waiting to be uncovered.
Well, thank you so much for guiding us through this incredible deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita. It's been a truly enlightening experience.
It's been my pleasure. And remember, the journey doesn't end here. The Gita's teachings are meant to be lived, to be integrated into our daily lives, to guide us on our path towards greater peace, wisdom, and fulfillment.
Beautifully said. And for our listeners, we encourage you to reflect on what resonated most with you from our conversation today. What teachings sparked your curiosity? What insights can you apply to your own life? The journey of self-discovery is an ongoing one, and the Bhagavad Gita offers a profound and timeless guide for those seeking a more meaningful and purposeful existence. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.